Hey, good morning and welcome to class 37. Are you kidding me? Of 50. This is Insured Annuities. When we originally started this course of Math.Logic.Wealth, the very first class was called Math.Logic Money. I got some help from some top life insurance sales business people who advised me how to build a successful course for life insurance advisors. And the only way I was told to get advisors to attend was to show them how to make money. As a matter of fact, instead of Math.Logic.Wealth, we also used another one, which is called More Comp, Faster, Easier, Fun. It was all about making more money. After all, life insurance brokers are in business to make money. Now, this course starts every analysis with the math. And Sean was saying this morning how much he's learned and he has to take the course again. And I say, me too. I've learned so much. The focus on consumers and the information I believe they should have if they want to make informed financial decisions about life insurance. I don't see it elsewhere. Now, having said that, today's class is a topic that made me a lot of money over the years. I say it's one of my top 5 money makers. And today is about doing good work and making a shitload of money. So I used a 70-year-old female, non-smoker, and did the math for today's class. And the scenario you're going to think about, because we're going to go through a few scenarios with Martha, who's a 70-year-old female. She's healthy. She's a non-smoker. And as always, 5 slides only to share the most important ideas about ensuring one's retirement income that everybody should know about. So how do we help consumers understand where life annuities fit into retirement planning and, by logical extension, estate planning and life insurance? Here's the answer. It's from 1975 song by Paul Simon. His song was 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. You just slip out the back jack, make a new plan, Stan. You don't need to be coy, Roy. Just get yourself free. Hop on the bus, Gus. You don't need to discuss much. Just drop off the key, Lee, and get yourself free. So let's get started with Martha and share with her the 50 ways to insure her income. See at the top here, 50 ways to insure your income. How's that? 50 ways, Hayes. Okay, I didn't come up with a great name for 50 ways, Hayes, but I call these micro-sweeteners. You know, we talked in this session about sweeteners, the big ideas that we have that make the return go from 3% net up to 20% return on investment using life insurance. This is a sweetener. And underneath it are 50 or more micro sweeteners. And I got them here. I'm going to work through some with you today. We can always talk about this. But in terms of making money, I wish I had known all this when I started because I would have made a lot more money. So I have a few to share with you today. Let's just do a few. But I'm going to show you do it alone, Joan. And that's the RIF annuity split. Just the math. You do some, Mom, you just buy an annuity, life annuity on its own, and we have the math to support it and opens up a whole conversation. So if Martha doesn't have a lot of free money, she will probably have an RRSP at age 70, and she has to make a decision whether to annuitize or RIF it. The second one is, it's just arbitrage, Raj. I think that was pretty clever. Arbitrage, Raj. And you add in the life insurance option because of arbitrage. And the third one I got is, make it part of your plan, Stan. We have this whole idea about deferring the insured annuity, like buying the insurance early and doing the annuity later, which enhances your return. Some of the programs out there call it permission to spend. I think we can do a little better, but I want to show you that option as well. Then we got the idea of shopping for the best rate, Nate. That was pretty clever, right? Shop for the best rate, Nate. And that's going to Life Guide, and that's going to Canex, and that's picking the best prices and knowing how to optimize the products. Then, of course, we're going to talk about try joint lives. Clive. I thought Clive might want to try joint lives because even though Martha in most of the scenarios today is single, if you have a couple, you're going to look at joint last to die, you're going to look at joint first to die, you're going to look at single on the spouses, and maybe combine these into a different solution, whichever gives the highest return for life. Then we have manage the investment and adjust, Gust. No, manage. Okay. It's something to do with managing the investment because when we run these quotes, does the life insurance have to be guaranteed? Are we comparing it to a guaranteed investment? There are some very powerful reasons why you want to, perhaps my personal favorite, pick the investment return on the life insurance and manage it. And then if you have to adjust, You adjust the death benefit. They never have to give up income. Then, of course, there's corporate-owned life. Wife, silly. Corporate-owned changes everything. I say automatically, if you can do the insurance inside the corporation and the annuity personally, you now have increased the return by 3 or 4% right off the top, if you have structure in that way. Then I got number 8. I call where does it fit, Brit? Is Brit a real name? I don't know. And then I do manage the rate, Nate, which is a repeat. And then it's all about DPA Ray. So those are the things I want to talk about. When we go to the next one, we're saying, do it alone, Joan. Now, this is about longevity risk and RSP decumulation. This is before we consider insuring the life annuity with life insurance. So case study number 1, Martha is a 70-year-old female, non-smoker, and she has to decide what to do with her $1 million RSP. Now, if she uses 100% into the RIF, the optimal approach is the minimum, which would give her $50,000. If she wants more, it'll run out. It'll probably be less. But if she uses 100% life annuity, the annual guaranteed lifetime income goes up to $70,000. So 50,000 versus 70,000. But if she picks the life annuity, she loses the estate value. It's gone. So the correct answer mathematically is, without knowing the date of death, is a combination, maybe 50%, 50-50. And the math measures any combination. So, of course, we got a worksheet. I was sending it off to everybody. And this is an idea you can share with anybody at any age. It doesn't matter how old they are. This will become an issue, decumulation. And this can be about planning for it, especially if they won't be able to annuitize because of the reduced estate value risk. Nobody has to annuitize any of their RSP. Some people don't wish to complicate their lives. The CFP planner says RIF. They say, okay. We say that's okay if they want to do that. But I'll bet a lot of people that you could get access to would be pissed off if you showed them how much money they're throwing away without a good reason. Using GICs isn't too attractive these days in a RIF. CFP guidelines recommends using a 3.4% return for long-term fixed investments. So here's something you should know. There's a commission issue. Alan pointed this out to me when we were going through this on Tuesday. Now, we'll look at the details in the other session later. I have a spreadsheet. We have a picture that Chad Larmon created for us. Comes back always to longevity risk, which is part of our job. I kind of think we're the only ones talking about it. So homework, look at a CanX request quote, read every word on the page, look at the output, and then send me whatever you got, and I'll send you the math because it's the right story. Longevity risk is real. Number 3, it's just arbitrage, Raj. And I say alone or in combination. This is the why it works well if we're able to combine the life insurance annuity with life insurance. Sorry, we're able to combine the life annuity with life insurance. Do you remember anti-selection? In class 35, we spoke about anti-selection. The message was top layer. This is our playbook, anti-selection, because we're looking for the best stuff to sell that makes sense. And then we do the math. It's mostly arithmetic because the math is so simple. Anti-selection is based on something your customer knows, something about themselves that the insurance company can't possibly know. Like, I'll never lapse. We know you automatically get a lift in your return if you're not part of the group that doesn't know how negative it is to cash the policy in. Or by analyzing the 50-page policy contract and measuring and comparing products in each product category. Remember, these are mortality-based financial instruments, which means the maturity date of the investment is an unknown variable. Now, actuaries are the most brilliant mathematicians in predicting the future. I have no doubt about that. But they still have limitations. They have no idea what you're going to do, what your customer is going to do. You're part of a group, a life insurance pool, and it's up to each individual in the pool to decide how they wish to compete within that group. I just want more for the people that choose to do their business through me. That's what we try to figure out each week in this course. Where are the gaps in product design that we can advise consumers about? Arbitrage is an investment strategy in which an investor simultaneously buys and sells an asset in different markets to take advantage of a price difference and generate a profit. With insured annuities, we're looking at a unique form of arbitrage that arises from pricing inefficiencies in the life insurance market. Here's the key insight. Life annuity pricing often can't differentiate between smokers and non-smokers. They can't. Life annuities can't differentiate between smokers and non-smokers. This creates a significant opportunity for healthy, non-smoking individuals age 65 and older who can qualify for the assurance. It just doesn't work for smokers. Why is this important? If you're a healthy non-smoker in this age group, you're likely to live longer than the average person the annuity is priced for. This means you could potentially receive more value from the annuity than what you're paying for it. This pricing inefficiency is at the heart of why insured annuities can be so powerful for the right individuals. It allows us to create a financial structure that combines a life annuity with a life insurance policy, potentially offering returns that are higher than the apparent risk would suggest. Here's the bottom line: they can't separate smokers from non-smokers when offering life annuities. Like, can you imagine you're taking an annuity a life annuity application, and the question you ask is, "Are you a smoker?" And your customer says, "Why are you asking me that? I didn't think it mattered, my health." The answer is you get more money if you smoke. Customer responds with, "Okay, I smoke." They might even pick up a cigarette for the first time in their life at that point in time and light it up and take 3 puffs. Smoker, non-smoker creates a math-based financial gap that a 70-year-old healthy non-smoker may wish to consider. The pricing is off. The deal is higher than it should be based on underwriting and pricing limitations. Here's the insured annuity, Judy. Longevity risk is one of our best tools, but let's cut to the chase, Grace. Retirement income planning with life annuities deserves a seat at the big case financial planning table. Why? Well, we're the guys who have access to life annuities and the specialty about prescribed tax treatment and all the other things. For our consumers, they're mostly unaware of this. The math: there's a risk of making a suboptimal financial decision if you're not aware of this option. And I suggest you can't optimize financial results if you don't consider them. Yet, nobody is required to optimize. That's what I talk about. They don't have to do this. But Martha is considering an investment options for her non-registered open money. Non-registered open money. She has some. Maybe her husband passed away recently, and now she has to manage the money for the first time, and she's looking at a life annuity because it's something that works really well. She should first see the income provided from a life annuity with prescribed tax treatment. For $1 million, she gets $64,000 of guaranteed income for life. So 6.4% after tax on $1 million. I think if you translated that to a pre-tax, you might say that's like getting over 10%. Yet we can offer to insure it, which makes sure the entire amount of the life insurance investment, of the investment itself, goes to her estate tax-free. I can make a case for something, for life annuities to be included in every life insurance presentation because it's a top 5 most important thing for consumers to know about financial planning. It's part of decumulation and longevity risk, which should lead to a discussion about life insurance and its primary role in a well-diversified portfolio. Class 37 insured annuity life insurance product experts have to get involved. And then we get to work to maximize the return by using the micro-sweeteners, like everything we're talking about. Shopping for the best rate Nate, try joint lives Clive, manage the investment and adjust Gust, corporate-owned life wife. And here's my favorite. I call it manage the rate Nate. I'm now running RIRT to 100, maybe to 85. I'm using YRT rates, and I'm assuming a non-guaranteed interest rate on the life insurance. The higher rate the customer chooses, the lower the cost of the life insurance. 20% more income for life. But here's the catch. You have to manage it. And if the life insurance policy's credited rate is lower than what you've assumed, you have to drop the amount of the death benefit. But you still get the same income for life. I think it's a better approach for most consumers. I'll show you the numbers in the next session, and I'm going to open it up for lots of discussions, but that's it. Thank you very much.